So I never get to do that. So watch. Yeah,
nice.
baby.
There you go.
I got one too. So,
Dane.
Yes.
The wheels on my bike, the tires specifically on my bike, are pissing me off.
I totally get that.
I mean, they're pissing me off. Like, they're really pissing me off. They keep going flat.
You need some sealant.
I need some sealant. So I sat them down. I'm like, listen, motherfuckers, we got to have a conversation.
Okay.
Right? I'm like, I am so sick and tired of you guys going flat.
Okay.
And you know what they said to me?
I really want to know this, but I don't. Okay, go ahead.
They said, Josh, we just can't handle the pressure.
Okay. You said it was a good joke. I don't know if that qualifies.
Can you dig it?
No.
You don't think that was a good joke?
No. Do you have a womp? Do you have a womp?
Hang on.
There we go. That's that. Yeah. That should have been what you used right there. So.
How you doing today, brother?
Good, man. I'm sad we didn't ride.
Yeah.
But it did not take much for you to convince me not to ride.
I was ready. I was all dressed in my riding gear. I changed my tire, swapped out my tires. I was ready, and I was out walking Mocha when you called. I'm like, are we still riding? You're like, you could convince me not to really easy.
Yeah, we've been so busy. We got the 24-hour in the Old Pueblo 24-hour race coming this weekend. It's been so busy at the shop, and it's just like you get done. On the drive over here, I almost fell asleep. No joke.
No, when you told me that, I was like, let's not ride. Let's get you home early.
But I do need that exercise. I think this weekend I'm going to make an effort to get out, take Turner out, and go out.
Are you guys going to do that Painter Boy Trail?
No, not with Turner. No. We're going to go out there and watch the rock drop, watch what's going on. Last year, if our listeners remember, we did a live podcast.
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of disappointed we're not going to be doing that this year.
Uh-oh.
So I'm sad about that. But
to our listeners, our local listeners, or anyone that's in town, I apologize. My youngest son has a soccer tournament this weekend, and so I got to be a good dad and be there to support him.
It's a crazy weekend. We've got my daughter's got a big volleyball tournament, so they're out of town. So I got Turner with me, so I can't do big rides, but we're going to go try and ride and just say hi and watch the rock drop, which is fun, and just see the festivities.
Yeah,
so, it's just a cool event. There's the amount of people that have been coming into the shop from all over the country.
It's crazy.
It is crazy, yeah. And it's really cool. Lacey was telling us a story about meeting people out at the trails.
Yeah, they're out at 50 today.
Yeah, they're just kind of getting into town early and then going out on rides and experiencing Tucson, and it's cool. It's cool to see those events going on, because I think in this day and age, there's been a little slowdown in some events, and then other events are getting bigger. So we were talking about triathlons are kind of slowing down a little bit. We're not seeing as much interest. So I'm hoping that's coming back. So,
yeah, right on, man. Yeah. Well, it's just it's the world famous Dane Higgins, the suspension guru from the world famous or infamous Guru Bikes and Guru Suspension, and little old me today.
Yeah, you know what? I love these. I do. I like just talking bike stuff. Yeah. And just kind of. I mean, we do this on the trail. Like, I do this every day.
Yeah,
I could do this every single day. Yeah. I just really like this stuff and geeking out on bike stuff and bike parts and little tricks and tips and all kinds of stuff. And hopefully everybody out there listening likes that. I love interviewing people and finding out how they live in the bike industry and how they, work in the bike industry and what they do and all of that. But sometimes you just want to sit down and be like geek out on stuff, and I like that. So
we'll do more of these. We've gotten some feedback that folks like when you and I just sit down and chat about bikes.
Are you going to pick fights again? Like, you're going to be like,
probably.
Yeah. Okay. I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
Although I think I'm batting like a 2 for 10. I'm like 20% accuracy level. So I'm learning a ton from you, but we have a list of things to talk about today that I think primarily stem from like things I've been learning. Mm-hmm. As I kind of get into new components and new types of bikes and stuff. And as I learned these lessons, I thought it would be good for me to share the lesson I learned and then get your perspective as like someone that has probably learned these lessons 10 years ago.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, like, we were just doing a little bit of talking. There's stuff I learned too. And I love learning. Like, I am on a deep dive lately, with my getting rid of news in my life. I've now filled that with learning everything. Like, I have taken my van apart 3 times. I'm like, redoing my garage, building a porch. Like I'm doing all these things and I just love learning that stuff. And I'm filling that time with all of that. So, you made a list, which I think is cool.
Yeah, I made a list. Okay. So first one, for Christmas, my wife hates presents. She doesn't want presents for her birthday. She doesn't want presents for Christmas. Gift giving is not her love language, so to speak.
Yeah.
But it is very much my love language, from my youth. And as I grew up, we didn't have a lot of money. And so like we would pine for things because we couldn't get them.
Yeah.
And so the only time we would get those big, cool things, whatever they were, would be like Christmas, birthdays, things like that. So like gift giving was a huge deal. We would save up and sacrifice. I always bought my own presents and stuff. Yeah. So it's like a big part of like who I am.
Okay.
And so it's really weird to have a wife that could give two shits. And I'm just like, look at this great thing I got you. And like last year when I bought her the transmission.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't want
that.
I don't want that. I'm like, could she at least like fake it or something? Like that was like, I put a lot of thought into that.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I didn't know what to get her. So, Dane had a set of carbon bars, that were from Pivot. And they were
really good. I think they're called the Phoenix Pros.
Okay.
Hopefully Brian Mason is listening and not disappointed in me. But they're really highly rated bars. I got to tell you, I got them on all my bikes, and I actually will pull them off my bike before I sell it and keep them. Yep. And in this day and age of like envies, and I like my 1-ups. I did get a set of 1-ups, which I really like. There's a lot of really good Renthals, you name it. There's all kinds of cool bars out there. Usually the house brand bar is not the desired bar.
Right.
But I've had customers come into the shop and say, we had one customer come in and goes, hey man, I want the Pivot bars. And I'm like, at the time, this is a while ago, we couldn't really get them from Pivot.
Yeah.
And they were just coming on the bikes. And he's like, can I just buy the ones off of that bike right there? And I'm like, well, I got to put something on there. And he's like, I'll buy these NV bars. I'm not kidding you.
You put those NV bars
and
on
I'll
there.
trade you for those bars right there. And I'm like, okay.
Deal.
And so, and we did it. That's how much he liked the bars. And it made me kind of change my perspective
on house brand
and evaluating things. Yeah.
Pivot.
Don't discount something that's made by the company.
Yeah.
Try and look at its merits, not necessarily its label.
Well, you gave me all that sales pitchy shit.
Yep.
But the reason I bought them, honestly, was because they were the same like rise and sweep and everything as the aluminum bars she had on her bike, because they were the bars that if you bought she has a switchblade.
Yeah.
If you bought a Pivot switchblade that was spec'd with the carbon stuff, that's what it would have. And the aluminum was the same. So I was like, all right, this is going to feel exactly the same.
Yep.
By the way, I cut them down. So she rides them at 780.
Okay.
They came at 800. Nice. I cut them down. Guess what the difference in weight was between the aluminum bars and the carbon bars?
100 grams.
146 grams.
Jesus. Wow.
So it's a little bit more than a quarter pound.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Right?
It's not a big object. So
right, no, you wouldn't think so. So, and she rode them today out at 50 year, which is one of the more technical sections in Tucson. And
did she even notice?
I was like, how the bars work? I put everything on there.
You're all excited.
I'm all excited.
Oh, they're black.
I put those new brakes, the haze brakes on there.
Yeah.
I'm like, how the brakes work? She's like, I didn't notice. I'm like, you didn't fucking notice that I changed your brakes to a different brand. You didn't even notice. She's such a rad rider. You think that she would be in tune with these things, but she's like, whatever.
There are people that will notice, you know, like they'll notice if I adjust their brake lever out a little bit.
I'll know that.
Yeah, people will notice that. And then there's people that won't notice if I've switched the fork on the bike. You know?
Yeah, like I'm 50% the rider of lazy, but if you change my bike by a 0.5 millimeter, I'd be like, something's not right here. Yeah. What'd you do?
It kind of shows you that, you know, everybody does their own thing. I like the carbon bars. I am a carbon bar junkie because I found a long time ago they reduce vibration. And so I'm not looking for flex. I still want them to steer well, and I'm not looking for stiff. But what I like is they just reduce some of the vibration that get in your hands.
Yeah. And
so it just takes one more contact point and gives it a little bit more comfortable, less abrasive feel.
Awesome. So. That's what I told her. I'm like, I think in the chatter, it's going to help a little bit in the chatter. She rode 50 year today. There's not a lot of chatter in 50 year.
Yeah.
So she's like, I probably won't notice it today. So whenever she rides a chattery trail, like Star Pass or whatever, she'll feel it.
Yeah.
That's not the whole point of this. The whole point of this is that like I've had those bars since Christmas. It's February 12th.
Yeah.
Had those bars since Christmas, and I haven't cut them because I was scared to cut carbon bars. And so like I'm a Park Tool guy.
Yeah.
And so I got onto Park Tool's website, and they have a hacksaw blade that's designed for carbon, but I couldn't fucking find it anywhere.
Oh.
And so I ordered it from England.
Really?
Yes.
I have one in the shop.
For sale?
Yeah.
Oh, God damn it. That's awesome. I waited like 2 months, paid $37 for a hacksaw blade.
Yeah. Yeah. And granted, like we don't, stuff like that, we don't put on display. We have 3 in the drawer.
Yeah.
So as we wear them out, we always have one.
Right.
But we're always ready to sell one. So
for Christ's sakes.
little secrets of the shop.
Little secrets. Like ask the shop if you don't see it on the floor. Because I did look at your Park Tools, and I'm like, all right, they're not selling hacksaw
I tell
blades.
people all the time, we hide shit. Like we do. Like
I don't know about that from a sales perspective, but okay, I got you.
It's not on purpose. It's just we're trying to cram so much.
You only have
in.
so much show space.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
show space.
Yeah.
And you have great. The crew is an amazing shop. It's like just got a great vibe, great employees, great setup, great stock. I should stop blowing you right now.
Stop it.
Okay. Anyways.
Okay.
So, I talked to you and our friend Nick, who's like a mechanic, and I was like, guys, I never cut carbon before. I'm a little nervous about this. Like, what should I do? So what I did was I bought this Park Tool carbon specific hacksaw blade that kind of looks like a hacksaw blade with like sandpaper on the bottom.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it worked like fucking great.
Yeah.
Although I did have a problem with it. But before we get into the problem that I had, and you can talk, and I know you have a solution for that, could you tell me, like, how do you guys cut carbon in your shop?
So we go out, if you go out in the back of the shop, there's this concrete slab, and we just rub them really aggressively on
He's
that.
full of shit. He's joking.
No, we use the carbon blades. So there's a couple different ways. Abrasive blades work really well, and they don't have the teeth. If you do have a hacksaw blade that's got a super fine tooth count, like a high tooth count, that works pretty good too. And I gave you, I'm just going to throw this out there.
You told me and I forgot.
Okay. I gave you advice.
You gave me the specific instructions.
Yes. Okay.
I was probably drinking whiskey at that time.
I just
and
want
totally
that
forgot.
known. I just want it known.
But okay, so before you
So do you want me to say that?
before you get to the solution,
Okay.
like,
All right.
are there carbon specific cutting tools that are not Park, or that you can go to like Ace or Home Depot, or like, what are those?
Yeah, you can get the same type of abrasive blade from other manufacturers.
Is that what it's called,
Yeah,
abrasive blade?
Yeah, and they look exactly like you described. It looks like somebody took a hacksaw blade with no teeth and glued a bunch of sand to it. You know?
Okay.
And it's what it is just those particles are embedded, and they create just a less aggressive cutting surface. It also creates a little bit wider, so it's wider. The kerf is a little bit wider, so you don't get the blade stuck as easily.
What's the word kerf mean?
Kerf, oh God. I know exactly what it is, and I can picture it, but it's basically the channel that is left by the cutting blade.
Gotcha.
So if you were cutting something, like if I'm cutting wood and my kerf, which I think is the thickness of the blade, is 1/4 inch, which is stupid wide.
Right.
If I want the product to end, I have to make sure that I count for the fact that it's going to take 1/4
Okay,
inch.
this actually makes sense to me because I had it set where I thought it was going to be set at at 780.
Yeah.
And I think I actually got to like 776 or something because of the curve.
Yeah. And so like when I learned early woodworking, you always make the line, and then, you know, when you're making your line for when you're going to cut a piece of wood or what have you, you kind of develop a habit of either cutting on one side or the other. It just so that you keep that consistent.
Gotcha.
So that your measurements tend to be consistent. Yeah. And the kerf is what you learn when you start using those blades. They will take a certain amount away. So let's say you have a board that is exactly 2 feet.
Yep.
And you cut it in the middle. They won't be 2 1-foot lengths.
Correct.
They will both be 1 foot minus half of the kerf.
Yeah.
Holy crap, dude.
assuming that your line was actually on the,
exactly. Yeah.
And so I apologize to Lacey. Your 780 bars are 776.
And then so there is so you get the abrasive blades.
So you can go to like Home Depot, Ace Hardware, like whatever. I
haven't
an abrasive blade.
Personally done it. We usually get them through distributors and stuff. But
do you use the Park ones or do you use different brands?
I have to check. Sometimes, you know, we've got a long history of there was a few years where you couldn't get anything from anybody. And so you change your buying habits. And so we used to just get them from our distributor. Then we would have to sometimes hit Amazon or go to Home Depot or what have you. And so I don't know if that's stabilized yet. We've just picked one brand.
So you just need an abrassive blade. And then I used a hacksaw. Like, do you guys always use hacksaws, or do you use like cutting wheels? Or?
No, normal hacksaw. When I was working at one shop and we did a lot of carbon fiber fork installs, we would use a little mini chop saw with an abrasive blade on it.
Really?
And that worked pretty good. And so, sometimes, you'll say something like that and then you picture the worst case scenario of somebody going out.
This is exactly what so like, should we recommend to our listeners like hacksaw?
So with carbon fiber, so here's the thing with carbon fiber. It is a fiber. There's a bunch of laid down fibers in epoxy. And so when you're cutting them, the epoxy will be removed by a blade differently than the fiber will. And so the likelihood of that tooth grabbing a piece of fiber and trying to yank it rather than cut it causes what they call fraying. And so whenever you fray carbon fiber, you create a stress riser and you create a inconsistency. It doesn't look cool. In most cases, like at the end of the bar, it will never really affect it. It's really a cosmetic thing. And it's not that big a deal to freak out if you get some fraying. But what you don't want is to just destroy that bar and create a bunch of opportunities for that carbon to continue to unravel.
Yeah. So carbon fiber is just literally like strings of metal.
Yeah.
That are wound or with tape, and then they're infused or impregnated with a resin.
Yeah.
And then cured in an oven, and that's what makes that material.
Yeah.
One of the things I learned, you can tell me if this is, or I think I learned, you can tell me this is right or not, is that you don't need to use a lot of pressure.
No.
That you barely push down at all, and it just cuts right through.
So I was working with a guy who builds frames, and I was using a hacksaw, and I was doing metal, right?
Right.
And I was just wrenching on this hacksaw, and he's like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I am cutting metal. I think I was 25 or 30. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't a young person. Yeah. I wasn't a tiny little baby, 16-year-old or anything. And he's like, "You're doing it all wrong." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And so this is a guy who makes steel frames, and he's cutting a lot of metal, and he's much more concerned about the finish and his tools. And so what he taught me was the teeth are meant to be pulled, and you don't push. So with a hacksaw, you have teeth that go one way.
Yep.
And you want to orientate the blade. You need to be aware of the orientation. Usually they have an arrow on there, so you can line them up, but you can flip them around and use them different ways. But ideally, you want to pull the teeth across the surface of the material, and that will cut it. And then you want to relieve the pressure as you go backwards.
Oh, interesting.
So you have a softer stroke.
Same with these abrasive blades for carbon?
Abrasive don't actually have that issue because
they'll cut
there's
on
no
both
directional teeth.
So they'll cut on both.
They'll cut both ways.
The push and pull.
Yeah, exactly. But if you were to use a fine tooth hacksaw for your carbon, you want to kind of lighten up as you reset and then pull again, or if you've set it up the other way. So what he was teaching me is in a metal sense, not to dull my hacksaw blades, not to wear them out. Have you ever seen a hacksaw blade that gets worn out? They start to get wavy and stuff. That's usually overheat.
It's like every one of my blades in my garage right now.
Yeah, we all do it. We all get impatient, and we're just pushing hard. And we're like, if we just go faster or push harder, it'll get done faster. And he taught me that, one, if you picture that tooth and you just picture it in your brain, there's a cavity.
Yeah.
There's only so much metal that it can curl up into that cavity before it starts lifting it and moving it and causing problems. And so if you get impatient, you're gonna cause extra wear. It's cool because one of the things I learned in school is like when you're in Germany and you're learning metalwork, they have an apprentice. They'll put you through an apprenticeship to learn metalwork. And like you'll spend so much time just filing and learning how the metal feels in the file and how to file. And like you go through these stages and they're way more meticulous than, what I learned.
Than us dumb Americans.
Well, it's not even dumb Americans. I didn't really get that. Even in shop class, we didn't really get in that intricate.
Yeah.
It's like cut this, here's how you work a hammer. Here's a drill, you know what I mean? And put some glue in between the wood, you know, and it'll stay longer. You know, it wasn't really meticulous, and it's kind of cool. Sorry, that is a huge tangent.
It's a huge tangent. Okay. Yeah. But you guys use the abrasive blades, the Park Tool abrasive blades.
The cool thing about those is, one, there's not a direction.
Yep.
2, they don't dull as fast, and 3, they don't tend to fray as much because they're kind of pulling the carbon. They're not pulling it as much. They're kind of just rubbing it away instead of like pulling or almost yanking it up.
Gotcha. So I cut, you got 2 ends.
Yeah.
Cut, whatever, 20 millimeters off each end.
Yeah.
And first cut, no problem. Yeah. And I've got the little Park jig inside of a bench vise, right? So I've got everything really secure, and I've got it lined up correctly, and it's got the channels in it. So it was really, efficient.
Yeah.
First one went fine. Second one, I got to the bottom, and I think I was pushing down too much, and it broke off. And when it broke off at the very end of the cut,
peeled it like a banana.
It peeled a little tiny. It just pulled up a little tiny, like 3 or 4 millimeter piece that didn't cut off.
Yeah.
So you're going to give me a way to resolve that, but let me tell.
I did give you a way.
You did, and I forgot it.
And you ignored me.
So let's start with there. Like, what do I do to at least lessen the chance that happens in the future?
Well, first of all, I will tell you that in a shop atmosphere, and our shop is built in a way that we work on our stuff right in front of everybody. There's no back room where the mechanics are banging away and you can't see what's going on. We are right there in front of you. The amount of times that we've cut a bar and the guy is standing, or the lady is standing right there watching us do it.
Like, don't fuck that up.
Yeah. Did you know that we do not have a pair of vice grips in the shop?
What would you need a pair of vice grips for?
Well, that's what I say. But do you know how many bike shops have like vice grips? Like,
I can't think of in time. I mean, maybe in the old days when bikes were old.
You work on a BMX bike, you're going to want some vice grips.
Yeah. When I was working with like all steel bikes, yes.
Yeah. So,
but nowadays, I can't think of a time I'd ever use vice grips on my.
It's different. But what we do is we will wrap tape. Usually masking tape works fine, or the not masking
electrical tape.
No, electrical tape's too rubbery and it has a lot of adhesives, so there's a lot of lift.
Like that blue painter's tape.
No, it's the clear tape, the stuff
like Scotch tape.
Scotch tape. There we go. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Could not come up.
I'm here
with
for you.
So I just wrap a couple layers of Scotch tape, and then I make my line with a pen, because sometimes you'll see a mark on the bar, and when you cover it with tape, you may not be able to see it through that cutter.
Gotcha.
Or through the guide.
So you use like a silver tape?
Just a pen works fine on Scotch tape.
Okay.
And then what the Scotch tape
But you're
does,
cutting through the actual Scotch tape.
Yes. Yeah.
Not like okay.
Yeah, you don't put it just on the edge. You cut straight through it.
Gotcha.
And it helps keep that little fraying from happening. Now, everybody who's seen this happen and had it happen to them, don't panic. There's not a lot of not risk. A lot's going to happen. Yeah. If that happens to you, you try and minimize it. We usually will bend it down and break it off, instead of trying to pull it. Because if you pull it, if the carbon's aligned properly, you can actually pull it pretty far up the bar. So like imagine you're peeling that, right?
Yep.
And you go to just like, gosh, I'm so mad that I just did this, and then you just yank it. We have seen people yank a good 6 inches, and where that thing will yank all the way up and unravel. It's unsightly. It's not good, and it's not a good thing.
So what I did, you can tell me this was stupid.
Yeah.
So I didn't pull it. I didn't break it.
Yeah.
I took a little piece of emery cloth, which is like a really fine grit sandpaper.
Yeah.
I just very lightly sanded it.
Yeah.
Until it was gone.
Yeah.
And it was completely flush. Now, I took a little of the carbon away when I did that.
Yep. Yeah.
But I was like, okay, this still feels very strong to me.
Yep. Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, you're fine. Like what we'll usually do is once we take the tape off, we'll then finish it with a file to just not have that raised edge. Because then when you go to put your grip on, it may grab that raised edge and then start peeling the carbon a little bit. Some bars are more prone to this than others. The more that the high-end bars, believe it or not, are the ones that tend to be more prone.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to use less epoxy and a higher grade carbon. And so with less epoxy, you have more fabric, fibers, and less of the plastic. People joke that carbon fiber is plastic. It's epoxy, but
it's resin.
Yeah, the resin will create it's much stronger. So we will usually use a light file, and then you file a certain direction to kind of just give it a good taper, so that when you're putting a grip on, it doesn't fray more. And that's it. So like the big takeaways are, it happens. Don't freak out if that happens.
Yep.
Minimize it as much as you can. The tape works really good. And then, try and just take a nice file and be nice and sensitive. So if you imagine you're looking down the bar from where the stem would be, we're filing away from the stem.
You use a file. I used emery cloth.
That's fine too.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. There's going to be a bunch of mechanics that are like, I use this. It doesn't matter. You're just basically beveling that thing so that it's not got a sharp edge.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Cool.
And
hey, listen. So we have 8 topics to cover. Guess how long we've been talking about?
20 minutes.
25 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe 5 minutes for the intro.
Yeah.
20 minutes we've been talking about my dumbass cut in a carbon bar.
The cut in the carbon bars is a big deal.
Yeah.
And, I think people want to be able to do it themselves, and I think they can. I don't think you should be afraid. And even if you get that little peeling happen, don't panic. It's at the end of the bar. There's very little strength difference if that happens.
Yep.
It's, just don't, I was watching one of the YouTube shows, GMBN or something, and they were like, "Oh, how do you cut? Oh, do you use a pipe cutter?" Don't use a pipe cutter.
Don't use a pipe cutter.
Yeah, pipe cutters are something that a lot of people use. I've used them on aluminum, and they can be effective. There's always a grain of salt to everything. Don't use don't use that huge pressure when you're using the thing, because you can cause problems.
Cause it.
Yeah.
Okay. I hate to add but since we're talking about carbon,
okay,
it just caught my mind on something. Like, I am a big fan of Motorex. You know that already. Motorex lubricants I love, which I think Shimano is distributing now.
Yep. I've just been bringing it in. So they also are the brand behind some of the brands. So
right. Because Pivot, we learned that when we were at the Pivot factory, remember they told us that even on their drawings, it says Motorex lubricant. So I'm a big fan of Motorex bike lube, I'm sorry, not bike lube, but their grease, their bike grease, the white grease and the bike grease, and then also their carbon paste.
Yeah.
And so so as I'm attaching things to carbon things, I use carbon paste.
Yep.
You don't use grease.
Yeah. So in the olden days, people were worried that grease would break down the carbon. I don't think that's an issue anymore. Basically carbon can be slippery. And so if you use grease, it may twist. So on a seat post, I think we've covered this in a couple podcasts where the idea of carbon paste is it's not a grease. So it's not a lubricant.
Nope. And it's got actually a little grit in it.
Yeah. Do not mix them up. They're little plastic balls in most cases. I'm
micro, super small. You can't see them. It's almost like sand.
You can feel them. Yeah. Yep. And they just create it. And then I think in a podcast, I've also mentioned where some companies will bond them straight in. They actually really resemble that abrasive saw blade. They have you'll get that pivot bar that you got, I think, has a whole layer of that built into where the clamp area is. No, it didn't?
It did not.
Okay, well, I sell a lot of different bars.
It was completely smooth. I was going to not call you out, but you vocalized it.
That's okay. That's okay. There's a lot of bars that do actually put that
so that you don't have to have anything.
So that you don't have to
but I'm using carbon paste and Motorex.
It works great.
That's great.
Yeah,
okay.
It's awesome.
All right, we can move on to our next topic.
Is that it? That's all you want to know?
28 minutes and 47.
That was like a product placement for Motorex.
I just love Motorex.
Are they paying you?
They're not paying me shit.
Is this a sponsored content?
It's not a sponsored content.
I'd like to take this time to have everybody
go buy Motorex.
I would like you to hit like and subscribe at this point.
It is so much better. Yeah, like and subscribe. Please subscribe to our podcast. Yeah. Here comes our
you can tell I've been overloading on YouTube stuff.
You've been listening to too much YouTube.
Way too much.
So next topic I want to talk to is, and we've talked about this a little bit before, but
are you going to tell this story correctly?
I'm going to tell a story as I remember it, and then you can tell it as you remember it.
Do you want me to just be quiet while you tell your story, and then I'll just...
You can tell me where it's all screwed up, or you can be like, you're exactly right. I think I'm an intellectually honest guy.
All right.
So I think I was honest. So
all right, you go
for years and years and years and years and years and years, I've used this stuff called Purple Extreme.
Yes. Yeah.
Great for the desert, I believe. It was actually designed for underwater welding.
I didn't know that.
Look at that. I'm here for you.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Weird, huh?
I knew the rep who was doing it, and I think he was actually the one selling it.
Bike Medicine, I think, was the company, right? Back in the day.
God, I don't remember.
Anyways, it's been great in the desert. It doesn't collect crap. One of the bad things about it is that it builds up over time and you get this kind of like gunky shit on your drivetrain. And then also, like every time you get done riding, you've got this black on your leg from where if you touch the chain, you get this black.
We call that rookie marks. So we do. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
I've been running for 25 years. I'm still getting them. So I'm a rookie mark. Basically. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
We're going to have to dig into that a little bit later, but, but Dane's like, what the hell are you using that stuff for, man? Use wax, and specifically this wax that is, comes in a bottle and you apply it just like you would apply regular lube called Squirt. And I'm like, okay, dude, I'll try it. And so I put it on my bike and, I put way too much on.
Okay.
Like probably 400% what you're supposed to put on. and it built this giant puddle of wax all around my bike. And I took it out for a ride and I'm like, I feel like I'm riding in mud. This is horrible.
Yeah. That's the text I got. This stuff sucks. I feel like I'm riding in mud.
And so I went back and I was like, okay, I put too much on. So I took that chain off and you can clean it and all that stuff. I threw the chain away, brand new chain, threw it away, put another one on. This time I put 200% what you need, which to me was a significant decrease. And it still sucked. And then, over about, I don't know. And Dane's like, just shut up. It works. Just shut up. Like
I can't wait to tell my stuff.
Yeah. And so I rode it for like 3 weeks and all that excess, cause I put 200% what you're supposed to put on, it came off. And then I was like, holy shit, this is freaking amazing. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have to lube my chain every day and I wasn't getting the rookie marks on my leg. And, I was like, oh, this is great. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to convert every bike we have, which is like 16 bikes in the stable right now between the whole family. But,
is it really that much? Or
it is 16 bikes.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It's a lot.
I mean, I can see them, but holy shit.
Yeah. Okay. There's a lot out there, especially now that we brought the Levo back.
Yeah.
Anyways, I recently converted my Rocky Mountain because I swapped out chains and stuff, and that's a good time to do it.
Yep.
Anyways, shout out to, oh my God, I'm going to forget the name of the company. Oh God, what's the company that makes the wax like dipping machine?
So there's Molten,
and they also make like really good
Silka.
pumps. Silka.
Yeah.
Okay, so Silka's got a stripper, a wax stripper.
Do you have to give her $1? Wait, are we talking about the same thing?
We're not.
Oh, okay, I got kind of excited.
For Christ's sakes. It's like a grease lube wax stripper, whatever. Works.
Are we still talking about?
It's Jesus. Yeah. Okay.
Grease lube stripper. That's what you said.
That's what I said.
I just want to clarify.
For Christ's sake.
Okay.
All right. We've gone into the gutter. All right. No, this is bicycle related lube, bicycle related wax,
right.
bicycle related grease. Focus. So just shout out to if you have to do any kind of, if you have to, I'm not going to say strip. If you have to remove in a very robust and thorough way the lubricant that's on your bicycle chain, whatever kind of lubricant it is, this Silka product. I'm trying not to use that word.
Lubricant remover.
This lubricant remover works great. Anyways, even for the packing grease that comes on the chains.
Okay.
So I put the new chain on there. I also noticed that you can buy chain. Okay, so like I'm sold like chain, old school chain lube, bad, wax good. I'm sold. At least for the desert, we ride in Tucson, Arizona in the desert, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's probably good in more places, but I know it's good in the desert.
Okay.
I noticed that KMC sells, and you can buy pre-waxed chains, and they're usually really expensive.
Yep.
I noticed that KMC sells pre-waxed chains for reasonable prices, like $45 for like a XT level chain.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on just the whole wax topic?
Okay.
You can tell your version of my story.
Yeah. I'll try and do it quick.
Okay. You
Josh is at the shop. Hey, I need some lube. what do you guys recommend? And I say, I like Squirt. We've been using it for a while, for a long time. It's really good stuff.
You like to squirt.
Yep, I do. And Josh buys it. I get a text. This stuff sucks. I feel like I'm riding in mud. It's the worst product ever. And I text back, hey, there's a lot of articles about how this is one of the top lubes. And actually, there's been articles about how it is one of the best ways to get more watts out of your bikes. And because we have a history of doing a lot with triathletes, they are really focused on reducing friction and, getting the most out of every watt that they have to put into that bike. And I try to explain through text, I'm not even calling him, and sending him articles that Squirt is actually top.
And I'm a data guy, so you're sending me data.
Yeah, top 3, in one case second. And not only is this little bottle of like $15 lube going up against the $75 like ceramic speed, which is great stuff, but it's $75. It's right there with it. And it's in independent, studies showing it is just as good and one of the lowest friction lubes on the market. Okay. Yeah. And Josh is like, this stuff sucks.
You know what you missed?
No, wait.
There's more. There's more to the story.
No, wait. This is it. I don't know, a month or so later, I come into Josh's garage and I look on the counter and there's another bottle of Squirt lube that I didn't sell him. It's their e-bike version. We don't carry that in the shop, not because we don't believe in it, because I don't know what the difference is. We'll figure it out. But
I'll tell you why I got that, but keep going.
Okay. And I'm like, wait a minute. This isn't the same stuff. He went out and bought more? And I got the saddest puppy dog eyes of like, yeah, I kind of like that stuff now.
That's
my side of the story.
So the part of the story you're missing is that in the middle of all this, I went to Sea Otter.
Yes. Yeah. Right? And you talked to the Squirt guys?
And the Squirt guys were there. Yeah. And I was like, why do I... And it actually was recorded. We've never actually published it. Yeah. I've got like 30 interviews from Sea Otter that we didn't publish. But and so they kind of talked me through everything. They explained to me what I had done wrong.
Good.
That wasn't...
What did you do wrong that is easy to tell people in case they're thinking or had an experience like that?
I literally put 400% more than you needed.
Way too much.
There's
on there.
way less. So you need to get my understanding. You're the expert, but you need to get a little bit on every rung.
Yes,
and you need to do it slow.
Yeah,
and then you let it dry for like 5 or 10 minutes.
Yep,
and then you do it second time on the initial install or the initial application.
Yeah,
and you do it again. Get a little tiny bit on every rung, and you're good.
Yeah,
I put a shit ton. Yeah. And created like I was riding with a candle basically on my bicycle.
Yeah.
Right. That was slowing stuff down.
I can see that. So when we sell Squirt, we've been, this is one of the things that I did tell you about this is that when I articulated this with you, and I really kind of enjoy telling people this because I give people my opinions all the time. And I say, hey, you should get this, or I think this is a good product or whatever. And what I don't always get to convey to them is that recommendation is not me. It's not my recommendation. It's not, I use this product. It is my absorption of every person that has ever come back and said, I love this product. And it's my feeling out everybody that I've ever talked to, every time I have a discussion about this product and every feedback, and I consume all of that knowledge and I kind of just weigh the average and figure it out. And in 30 years of selling Squirt, I mean, a long time, I can tell you the first time I used it, we were doing...
You're going to tell me the first time you squirted.
Yeah, first time. They gave us a case I was doing neutral support at the 24 hours.
Yeah.
And they gave us a case, and I had never heard of it, and we just used it, and we had a case left over at the bike shop, and nobody had ever heard of it, didn't know anything about it, and we just started using it. And what happened was we were like, this is free lube. Let's just start using it. That's all
free
that happened.
lube.
That's really all it was. And in a bike shop, and at that time we were a really, really, really high-end bike shop, and we had so many people coming back and raving about it. And we had no data. And it wasn't until years later that they started actually doing independent tests of this product.
Yeah.
And and seeing why it was so successful. I did talk to the Squirt guys at different trade shows, and I found out really cool little facts. Like, for instance, did you know that their biggest pain in the ass is the little, at the time anyway, was the getting the bottle qualified for U.S. anti-kid proof.
So you don't drink it. So kids don't drink it.
So there's a
safety.
There's the applicator that shrinks the
the
nozzle
little
down.
nipple.
Yeah, that nipple had to fit in to the bottle at a certain friction so that it wouldn't be easily removed and swallowed. No joke. And I'm talking to the Squirt guy, and he's telling me this story of that's his pain in the butt. He's pretty much conquered bike lube. And
dude, you could go all between wax, Squirt, lube, nipple, like swallow.
Oh,
like we have. This is ripe for
dirty
misunderstanding.
lube stripper.
Yeah, right.
Like
stripper. I forgot stripper.
I kind of feel like we need that shirt. So moral of the story is this recommendation, and our shop really likes this stuff. It does really good. However, I will tell you it has limitations. And so, for instance, in our climate, in our dry climate, which is dusty, we're not riding in rain. This lubricant does really well. It tends to let the dust collect on the wax itself, and the wax will naturally kind of flake off. There was a product called White Lightning. There still is a product called White Lightning that kind of did this first,
right,
but didn't do a good job. One of the biggest things that White Lightning struggled with is the particulates. The wax would separate from the transfer fluid that was meant to move the wax to the chain. And because it would separate, you would get super gunk.
Right.
And a lot of people that have been riding for a long time had that experience and don't like wax loops because of that. The Squirt is definitely different. You do need to clean your drivetrain very well to put it on.
Very well. Like almost like
the one time.
Yeah.
So one thing that people in the shop get confused about is they're like, do I have to clean it every time I put it on? I'm like, no. The one time you need to clean it, there is a cosmoline type grease from the factory. You need to get that off. It needs to really sit next to the actual metal and bond. I'm sure there's some molecular structure that happens, but it needs to be really on the metal. And it does need to get under the rollers to be as effective.
So this is that stripper from Soka that I was talking about that worked amazing.
It does great. Gasoline would probably work, but fuck, I don't know. Who knows?
We're not recommending gasoline.
Do it in a well-ventilated.
Yes. Soka.
But you need to clean it first. Now, I am lazy. And I will tell you that what I do with my bikes is I actually will run a new chain on the bike. That Cosmoline's a good lube. Shimano will tell you that. A lot of the chain companies will tell you, hey, this is actually a really good lube. It's good for the chain. There's a lot of mechanics that kind of develop this kind of attitude that, I need to strip that off and put bike lube on.
I've done that for 20 years because it collects dirt.
It does. So again, you have to always look at things from your climate, your environment. And so if
is it really Cosmoline?
Yeah.
Like the shit that the Russians put their AK-47s in when they're not using them?
I don't want to say it as like Kleenex, like as a brand, but what it is a packing lubricant to reduce the option of that metal rusting.
Yep.
But it is a good lube and it works very well. And if you're in Portland where it's raining all the time and you're commuting, it's a better lube than Squirt. I will tell you that straight up. I would rather have that stuff than Squirt because it's waterproof and it's harder to get off. And when you are in Portland or a rainy environment, you're going to want to maybe do a different lube. I'm not going to recommend this lube.
Yeah.
I would recommend.
And are you paid by Squirt?
No, I'm not. I mean, they gave me a free case like 100 years ago, but that's about
like literally 100 years ago.
But ever since then, we have bought the product and we really believe in it. And this is definitely not paid advertisement. So I'm not selling Squirt. I do actually like Pedro's does a good job with their ice wax.
Okay.
That was the one that I used before Squirt. Again, you didn't have to mix it as much. So the one thing about Squirt that's different than like the White Lightnings is it doesn't separate. So when you are, if the bottle was clear, which in most cases they're kind of a frosted, so you can kind of see in them.
Yep.
You don't see any separation where you did with the other stuff. And I was trying out a WD-40 dry lube and it would separate. There's a lot of brands out there that'll separate. Their formula just doesn't do that. And so the transfer fluid, when it does evaporate and leave and dry,
which is intentional,
it is
after the application.
It is so mixed with the lube that you're not getting this unevenness. So, and you don't get the gunk if you apply it properly. So
well, I'm sold now. If you're in a dry climate, specifically if you're in a dry climate, you should really try this.
It's good stuff. Oh wait, I do need to tell people, because there's going to be a bunch of people screaming at the whatever they're listening to us on. There is a limitation, and one of the limitations that we have found with Squirt is if you're doing longer rides, it needs to be applied. So we just supported the Zia Rides 10er race that was in Tucson.
Yep.
And that's a 10-hour race. So you're basically a 10-hour relay race. And so if you're a solo rider, you're going to be doing a lot of miles, and you're going to want to put this on. And
in the middle of the race?
Well, so yes, and to an effect. So let's say you're going to do 100 miles and you put this on. You may see in the right climate, because at the tenor it was super dusty, and we have this Arizona super silt moon dust, whatever you want to call it, and it will work its way into the chain. And so what we were seeing, and believe it or not, Squirt sponsored that event. We didn't even know that, and we showed up with our big bottles of Squirt, and they were giving everybody all these little ones. So it was cool. But what was really interesting, so this is some good feedback from our SRAM versus Shimano. The bikes that were coming in with shifting issues that on SRAM transmission, we were very confident that they didn't have a bent hanger. And we were also very confident that they weren't out of adjustment, but they were making these horrible creaky noises. Guess what fixed it?
The lube.
Just lube the chain. People would come in and they were like, my bike is falling apart. We would put it in the stand. I'm like, is it making like a rah, rah, rah? And they're like, yeah. And I would lube it with Squirt, run it through, let it sit for 5 minutes.
Obviously, these were bikes that were already squirted. They were already waxed chains.
Yeah. I will tell you that I get away with, like, I don't over lube, but I have applied it to bikes with other lubes and it still survives. But we tell people in the shop, if you mix a wet and a dry lube, no matter what the brands, you're going to end up with that gunk, that big gunk. They
Seattle, they strongly advised against that, for the record.
If you're lazy and you get away with it, great. If you don't, clean your shit and do it right. So I'm lazy all the time, and I've put it on bikes, and I put it on Cosmoline. I've got it to work. I'm not as picky. But it does a really good job. It actually eventually will just take over. It's kind of like an invasive species, but but the drawback is what we're seeing is it's not going to be 100-mile lube. You're going to be at like around 50 miles, depending on the dryness and the dustiness, where you're going to need to reapply. And so for those endurance athletes that may be doing these long, huge events, or if you're riding solo at the 24 Squirt, you may need to make sure that you come in, and get a lube when you get you take your 10-minute pee break or whatever, And so that is one of the limitations that we've seen. Those bikes with transmission, by the way, it was pretty amazing. You would put this lube on it, let it sit for not even 5 minutes, but just let it soak in. We apply it, then we run it through the gears so it gets a coating over all the teeth, and then we just let it sit. And then usually we just take a rag after it's got a good minute of sitting there, so we know it's getting in, and we just take off any excess, And the bike was night and day, and people would take and they're like, "What did you do?" And we're like, "We just lubed the chain." And they're like, "You're kidding!" And no, that's it. So,
lose your chain, suckers. Lube your chain.
But it was funny because the transmission bikes, we were so confident that they didn't have bed hangers, they didn't have a corroded or a corrupted cable. Because we talked about it in electronics.
Yep.
And we were so confident they were adjusted right that the only thing that we could think of that was causing this weird noise was lube. And sure enough, that's all.
So I followed the instructions on the bottle and what the guys told me.
Yeah.
And I put it on. I let it dry for like 12 hours.
You don't need to do that. Usually about 5 minutes is what you need.
What?
Yeah. So
shut up.
So there's a couple things that foul it up, and that is
this is not the manufacturer's recommended process, for the record.
Yeah. And I've been using this for decades, so I probably don't follow it as strict.
No, you obviously don't follow it as strict.
But what does happen is if you're having a problem with it, you should default to those instructions and try and follow them, which is what you did.
Yep.
And then you had your good experience. So I get away with a lot more because I'm quickly evaluating what's going on. And if the chain has got that cosmoline, it's super fresh and it's like got a really big layer, I know it's going to get gunky. So then I will usually, on the bike, clean that off as much as I can and then put it on. But for the most part, if a customer comes in and they are getting a new chain and we're putting Squirt on, we will usually take the time to take the chain off, clean it in the parts washer, and do it correctly for a customer. So when I say that I'm lazy on my bikes.
Yes, not so much on your customers.
Yeah, and it's because I'm usually rushing out the door and I'm throwing some lube on so it doesn't make that creaky noise. And honestly, I never have a problem. And so...
Okay, I never thought, I always thought I had to I couldn't just put lube on and go 20 minutes later go ride.
So you have metal on metal movement and you want to get lube in between the metal to create the least amount of friction as possible so that you have the least amount of wear as possible. Believe it or not, the side plates of the chain aren't as critical as the rollers.
I didn't realize that. Yeah. For years I've been lubing the side plates, and it really is the rollers is what matters.
Yeah. Now there's other waxes out there. I use a Weld. W-E-L-D, Weld. I can't remember. They make a hard wax that you can melt and dip your chain in, or you can put it on kind of like, remember Sax wax? How you do it? You're serious. It's like
you're talking about surfboard wax.
Yeah, like surfboard wax. It's like a stick and you can put it on. I actually put that stuff on my downhill bike and did 2 whole seasons.
With one waxing?
With one waxing. Now, keep in mind, in my races, I wasn't pedaling a ton. It's not a cross-country race.
Right.
I'm just descending and sprinting and descending and sprinting.
You probably did 4 miles of pedaling in 2 seasons.
Probably. Yeah, that's probably true. I just coast down, right? Us downhillers just roll down the hill.
Yeah, you guys don't work.
Actually, that was my mantra. I'm just going to roll down. But that stuff was amazing. And you could still see on the side plates the green because they had colors. And I did green on mine. So you can do that, and I do have buddies who will do the dip. They'll melt it in a crock pot.
Is that way better than Squirt?
It's a way to try and get that lubricant underneath the rollers and in the crevices that sometimes when you're applying it topical, it doesn't get there. And so that's really kind of there are different ways to doing it. Also, a paraffin dip is a different material. Like it's a harder material. It's not.
Doesn't have the liquid that's in there?
I mean, this is literally at its rest a liquid. So because of that, it's not as hard.
Yeah, it's not the same type of product. I mean, it's similar, but it's not the same type.
I always weigh things like how hard is it to do that.
And Squirt is super fucking easy.
It's super easy. Once you start using it, that's when it really shines. Yeah. Because once it is on and you're using it, you don't have to do the deep clean. You just have to reapply it. I would say you have to reapply it more often, but a bottle like that will last me a long time.
Yeah. So for all those other bikes, I've only got 3 bikes converted now to 16.
Yeah.
I think what I was thinking that I got this big process.
Yeah.
It sounds like I can just run those chains through some degreaser.
I
clean them off and put Squirt on them.
I feel like you're super analytical, and I think what you should do is do one. See what happens. Do one another. And
I was going to do that anyways.
Yeah. Because so that gets on to our next subject.
Oh, look
that
at
was
you.
A good segue.
Look at you.
Oh my God.
Look at you. All right.
We have number 3 on our line.
3.
We're only on 3.
We're probably only going to get through 3 in this whole podcast of the 8 that we wrote down. So we have 6 more podcasts planned. But
and it is literally changing one thing on your bike at a time. And so this is something you went through.
Should I tell my story?
Yeah, go for it.
So we were out at the bike swap, which every year in Tucson, GABA puts on a bike swap, and everyone comes out. And I mean, there's probably, I don't know, 40, 50 vendors.
It's one of the biggest in the country.
Yeah,
it really
huge bike swaps. Really cool.
I think Denver has a really big one.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Think of it like a swap meet for bike stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Big time.
And I was out there helping out Dane in the shop, and I was trying to sell a bike, which I never sold. But that's okay because I kept it, and now I decided that I love it. I want to keep it. But I was out there helping these guys, and one of your employees was walking around, and he had Willie, and he had a sign on his back, and it was like brand new takeoff i9 Hydra hubs.
Yep. Yeah.
For some stupid low price.
Yep. Yeah.
And I'm like, Willie, is that serious? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. And so I handed him some cash because I brought a pocket full of cash because I'm like, I'm at a bike swap. I'm going to buy something. And I was like, I don't know what to do with these, but They would fit most of my bikes, whatever. And it was in Willie's a Shimano guy.
Yep.
I'm a Shimano guy, so it was microspline.
Yep.
Right. So that'll work.
Yep.
And so I had those hubs for, I don't know, 6 months or something, and I didn't do anything with them. And then I'm like, Dane, can you get me a set of carbon rims? He's like, yep, I got an idea. We can get some carbon rims for you. And I'm like, can you build these up for me? He's like, yep. I'm like, sweet. Yep. I've never had high engagement hubs in my life. Because I'm cheap. We've established that pretty clearly on the podcast.
Yeah. Big difference between those and Shimano. So
the Shimano ones are awesome.
Okay. No, I love Shimano. I'm not going to disparage them.
I'm telling you, bang for buck, price wise, the Shimano wheels.
XT, I would say, is a good hub, but when you get down to the Dior or lower, you're just not getting that engagement.
Yeah, that's fair. I've only had SLX level or above Shimano hubs, and they're not expensive. So why the hell would you buy a Dior?
No. And honestly, my biggest beef with that is not the quality, because when Shimano makes something, they do a really good job. They really make a good product. And in fact, we have to be careful if we're rebuilding a Shimano hub that we use the appropriate level of quality of bearing. Because most Shimano hubs are open ball and they're cup and cone, they call it.
Yep.
And it's very few Shimano hubs actually have seal cartridge bearings, and because they believe in the quality of that bearing. Mm-hmm. So if you take a Dura-Ace hub and you throw in Wheelsmith ball bearings, somebody at Shimano will die. They will actually pass away right there. And it's like, it's not a fairy loses its wings. Literally a Shimano employee dies. Yeah.
Yeah. So high precision,
very high precision. And so when they do that, that's great. My beef with them is that if you want a Shimano hub and you want to run anything but Shimano on it, you can't. Yep. So they just don't play well with others.
The good thing is if you get a SRAM hub, you can put anything on it, right?
No,
you can't.
What? No.
Wait, it's the same thing.
Wait. So here's the funny thing. Shimano only makes Shimano HG and microspline. SRAM makes Shimano HG and XD. SRAM.
XD.
Yeah.
So
SRAM plays well because they wanted to sell their stuff. Or they know
that they're an inferior company and they better make something that works with Shimano.
Now we're fighting. So now you're just picking stuff. Okay,
right, get back to the point. Get to the point.
Yeah.
So I got these new first carbon rims I ever had, first carbon wheel set, first high.
Dude, I got to say I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
I am. You're kind of, I don't want to say that everyone should have carbon, but carbon is a barrier when you're in the desert with the rockiness that we have to just let go and get carbon.
Well, you have to keep in mind that I'm a large human.
Yeah. Well, and it's sharp and pointy out here.
Yeah,
very
and
sharp
I'm
and pointy.
very large human.
Yes.
So and I've broken steel.
Yes.
Right. So there's a history here. Like this isn't like, it's not complete like chaos and or hysteria.
Yeah.
Like I have actually broken lots and lots of stuff. So I'm nervous.
Yeah.
Anyways. So high engagement hubs for the first time, carbon rims for the first time, hand belt over at Guru. Thank you so much. Bryant. Cheers. Yep. So far they've done great.
Yep. Still need to do a 30-day on them.
Yep. So we'll get those into you. I appreciate that. And then I put some Forecasters, Maxxis Forecasters. And because I've been wanting to try them, they're a little beefier than what I normally run.
Would you run Recons?
So I've been running specialized tires, ground control and purgatory.
Okay.
And recently I've been running the Teravail Ehline, which I fucking love that tire, the back tire. It's amazing.
You just showed it to me. It's off my radar, so I'm kind of interested in checking it out.
It's super light, 700 grams, and it's really great for like downcountry, kind of loose over hard.
So did you see what we just did there? We were on number 3 talking about one thing, but we just added in number 5.
That was that's how I put them in
number 4. We just skipped ahead.
I just put them in the order.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
So let's talk about the Forecaster for a minute.
Yeah.
So I ride on this particular bike. I ride mostly cross country stuff.
Loose over hard is a very common term. We call it kitty litter.
Minor chunk, but not major chunk. For this bike, it's a 140, 120 Epic Specialized Epic Evo. Yeah, older model that's been overstroked. The suspension's been overstroked. Dane helped me with that.
Yep.
Anyways, took it out and let me talk about the Forecasters first. They fucking stick to the ground like glue going downhill.
That's awesome.
They also stick to the ground like glue when you're pedaling.
Okay. So you're
on flats or going uphill.
So when you say glue, it's great as far as like
going downhill. I mean, bad on the flats and climbing.
Okay, so like they're a little too grippy. Like you're feeling the resistance, or they call it friction.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I go in and talk to Dane, one of Dane's experts, Ben, who we called Ben one time in the podcast. Ben's a great guy. He's a funny guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Ben, I was like, hey, so I got this high engagement hub.
Yeah.
I really feel like I'm having a hard time pedaling. I'm pretty sure it's the hub. I'm like, is increased friction in a high engagement hub a thing? Is that real? And he's like, oh yeah, absolutely. and so I was like, yes, I proved myself right. And he's like, but you can only really detect that in the lab. You wouldn't feel it on the trail.
No.
And I was like, oh.
And incidentally, that won't be affecting when you're pedaling. It's only when you're coasting.
Fair enough. Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense now that you say it that way. Makes a whole lot of sense. So he's like, well, what else did you change? I'm like, well, it's carbon rims for the first time, and I put new tires on. He's like, well, what tires you put on? I'm like, Forecasters. He's like, what'd you have on there? I'm like, I don't know, like really mild cross country tires. He's like, you're a dumbass. And so this gets to the point that I want to talk about is like, I think the lesson that I learned here, and I knew this, but like, obviously I forgot it, like change one thing at a time on your bike.
Well, if you're evaluating something, you know, like if you get new wheels, new tires, new drivetrain on your bike, you're sprucing up your old bike. Instead of buying a new one, you're like, I'm just going to pimp this ride. It's hard to do that, right? But if you're having an issue, so like we know this from diagnostics when we're working on a bike, trying to figure out what's wrong with it, you don't want to attack like 3 different things because then you may not know what actually fixed it.
Yeah.
And so you do one at a time. And so that's something that goes on. When you're evaluating a new product, if you overload and do a bunch of things, you may not get a good idea of what actually made the difference. And so in your case, you went to carbon, you went to high engagement, and you went to a different tire.
Yeah.
You know,
a chunkier tire.
Yeah. And so all 3 of those things can make a big difference. And
and my dumbass just wanted to blame it on the hubs.
Now tell me something. Did you have any data Strava wise that you were actually going faster, or did it just feel, or that you were going slower, or did it just feel slower?
You know, I know I had data from Strava that my descents were faster because you get a bunch of PRs.
Okay. Yeah.
So it pops the top and it tells you, so it's obvious. So I know that in certain sections of the trail, I'm descending faster. I don't know about climbing or flats because you'd have to go compare it. And I didn't, it's there. I just haven't done that.
So this has come up a couple times, and I'm using my friend Mike Jones, and Sharon, his bike Sharon, as an example.
Sharon's his bike.
Yep, yeah, and she has her own Instagram, Sharon the Mountain Bike.
She's got a good style too. Where does she shop?
Yeah,
like everything matches, tires.
I know,
everything.
I know. She's got a good.
She's got colored tires.
True. So Mike has been slowly evolving Sharon from her stock features, and she's been getting better and better as he rides more and more. He puts more money into her and gets her riding more. One of the things that
she's an Instinct, right? Rocky Mountain Instinct.
Yeah, Instinct. Yep. Yeah, and he's kind of BC'd. Yeah, he's BC'd her. So which means he's put a DVO coil on the back. He got from a buddy, and he was like, "This is amazing." And I said, "Do you need to do the fork on that particular Instinct?" Came with a pretty weak fork relative to what came on a lot of the Instincts. It was a 32 millimeter, 140 or 150 millimeter.
32 millimeters at 150?
Yes. Yeah. It was a pretty weak.
Wow.
It was right on the cusp of when they, basically they're like, stop doing that.
So 32 is the stanchion diameter.
Yeah. Diameter.
And then 140, 150 is the amount of travel.
Yeah.
And that's just not enough thickness to sustain that amount of travel. Yeah. I mean, just if you look at
a 34 at 140 is pretty common, but a 32 at 140 or 150 is not. And so we knew that when he got a closeout bike, and it was a spec that they put out before a product was ready. And so the next year model, they had the right product on there.
Yeah.
But it was a great bike, and the fork actually did really well for him. But he upgraded to a DVO Diamond, and the moral of the story is he basically went from one type of suspension that was kind of under-biked for what he does, because he's a very aggressive, very fast. We call him the human e-bike.
He is like a human e-bike.
And he does a lot of riding, and he's got a lot of power and stuff. And so he had this weird experience after he gets this new fork. And the DVO Diamond at the time was $1,000 fork. It's a great fork. It's one of my favorite forks. It does really, really well. They have bunches of versions. When he got this fork,
that's the same one we gave out at the.
I think so.
At
at the poker ride.
Yep.
Yeah, and now they've since changed the design, and we had a whole episode with Ronnie from DVO where he talked about that.
Yep.
But this fork was leaps and bounds ahead of what he was riding, and he came into the shop and he told me something that I always dread. Somebody. Dane, I rode this fork and I feel so slow, so much slower with this fork.
Yeah.
And I immediately get this sense of dread that flows over me because I don't like it.
You gave bad advice.
Yeah. Remember, I'm not just telling him what I like.
Yeah.
I'm regurgitating all of the different experiences from the people that have used this product. Yeah. And that's what builds my confidence.
You're assimilating and summarizing.
Yep. Yeah.
1,000 different data points.
Yeah. I'm really looking at all of that info and getting good info and putting it out. It's not just my opinion. And so I'm just like, oh man, the next thing he says blew me away. And I've been thinking about this since. He goes, but then I looked at Strava and I PR'd everything. Not joking. So he comes into the shop and tells me that this
is so slow.
This fork has made me feel so slow. But when I look at Strava, I'm PRing everything. And I think this is a phenomenon that happens more often that I don't really think about than people realize. And I think maybe you may have experienced a little bit of this.
Yeah.
What we think happened, and I think a lot of people out there probably have guessed, what we think happened is that because the suspension was an upgrade, it did follow the terrain better and give him more traction and control, and was more plush, that he was actually traveling at a faster speed, but
felt like he was going slower because he's used to getting his ass kicked.
Yeah. When you're going fast, you get used to this kind of like out of control. I'm going so fast that, I mean, if you picture somebody just blasting through, you just picture their face just shaking apart and like the wind blowing them backwards. And like, there's a lot of gyration with their arms and they're just moving up and down. And that's kind of what, you kind of learn is fast.
Yeah.
When you put high quality suspension on your bike, you may not experience that. And you may actually go faster because the suspension may work and not jar you as much and track the ground better and keep you from needing to suspend yourself. Your suspension may actually do it. And that's what we think happened. And so what we think happened is he moved from a system that just was under forked on his bike to a suspension that was just doing a way better job. And he was going so much faster, but not feeling that sensation of almost just riding that out of controlness, And so it taught me a lot. It taught me how to help evaluate when people are describing what they're going through and to keep that in the back of my head.
Yeah. You may have actually gone faster.
Yeah. You may actually go faster.
Even though it feels slower.
And as much as I don't Strava, I feel like Strava is a great tool to be able to help evaluate that. And,
you should use it.
I think Jilly's getting me into it.
Good.
Because she likes the data like you, and she gets kudos and she likes to give kudos.
I got to go follow her on Strava.
Yeah, I got to get her to do more. She's still working on it. She's still green.
That's all right.
So no, we've gone through 5.
Yeah, and we're out of time.
Are we?
We are literally out of time.
Christ.
But that's good because we really have only gone through 4 because I haven't. I'll talk about it now. That Teravail, I think it's a company that started, as I understand it, with like some. I don't even know what an all-road tire is. but I guess it's some new category of road bike.
I know Ben has Teravail on his gravel bike.
Yeah, so they've done gravel and some type of like
maybe they're bringing that over and kind of just getting a bigger tire. There's this thing in gravel called Monster Gravel, which are actually 29ers. You know, they're running 2.3s and stuff like that. With drop bars. And so maybe that's what they're doing is you've got what they think is a gravel tire, but it's working great as a cross country tire.
Well, you know, Chris Croto over at RVBS, he recommended it to me. I tried it out. I went and read a bunch of reviews. Lone Wolf's reviewed them. They get great reviews. This tire is freaking amazing.
That's good.
I love it. But I've only used it as a back tire. And so I've taken the Forecaster off my back, kept the Forecaster on the front.
That's okay, by the way. I just want everybody out there. You can have two different brands of tires. Don't feel pressured into having the same brand.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic.
I'm not.
Or you're just being honest.
I am actually being honest because the amount of people that come in and kind of stress over having like a Vittoria on the front and a Maxxis on the back or vice versa, they just don't do it. And I think it maybe comes from cars.
Okay.
You think
that you want everything to match?
Yeah, you want everything to match because the car tires have said, hey, you know, you don't want one tire gripping more than the other. And I totally get that in a car, in a bike, and in a motorcycle, and anything with two trailing wheels, you know, and that's all you have. They do different jobs.
Well, my hypothesis here is that like I don't need as much traction in the back.
No.
And I need more rolling. In the front I need more traction.
Yep.
So and I've run this type of configuration for years and years and years and had success on it. So I'm going to try the Forecaster on the front so I can get some of that grip, some of that downhill capability, but then get a little bit more of that rolling, like ease of rolling in the back. My hypothesis is this is going to be a good configuration.
Yeah, I want to try the Forecaster out. I don't know if you remember.
I got one. If you want to take it, you can take it.
But do you remember when I was like giving somebody crap about?
Yeah, you screwed up.
I screwed up.
The wrong tire.
It was the wrong tire, and I was talking about customers. Like I basically was saying, don't just follow mindlessly what people say on YouTube.
Yeah. But listen to us for sure.
Well, but pay attention. And my example was I screwed up because my example was, hey, this person recommended this tire on YouTube. They came into the shop and they ordered it, and it turned out to be a mud tire. And we're in Tucson, Arizona, with zero mud.
You don't need a mud tire.
And I had called that tire the Forecaster. I think that tire ended up. What I figured out was that actually the name of that tire was the Medusa. And it was a tire that Maxxis discontinued, and I just kind of didn't realize because we had some really good customers that gave me a bunch of shit about like, I like the Forecaster. It's a good tire. Since that, I will tell you, listeners, that I have brought those into the shop. Because
the Forecasters?
Yes.
Have you sold a lot of them? Or?
I wouldn't say a lot.
But they're not sitting on the shelf for months and months.
No, and their tread profile is much better than I expected. It is not the Medusa. It is not this mud tire. It is a very capable tire. And I do want to put them on a bike and see how they do because I'm a big fan of the Recons.
I think it's like one level up from the Recon.
Yeah.
In like at least that's my impression.
Yeah. So I would probably be on a trail bike, Recon, rear back. And Forecaster front.
So that's effectively what I'm doing on my downcountry bike. All right. So we've gone through, I guess now 5 of our like 9 topics because I got it mislabeled. So we'll save the rest of them. Well, maybe let's cover one more. Just
you want to do the dropper post?
I do because it's a short topic, but it's something I didn't know. So Dane was out in my garage. I went and was showing him the Teravail.
You hang your bikes on the wall, like on a hook.
I do hang most of the bikes are on the wall.
Front tire up, so they're kind of vertical.
Yep.
And they're kind of sticking out. And as I'm walking by, I'm noticing I'm pushing your dropper levers.
Yep. So we had the dropper seat. We had the seat down.
Yeah.
On all the droppers, and we do that and have done that. Because it just creates more room in the garage.
Yeah, because when you're walking, they're sticking out. When you're walking by, they're not grabbing.
Yeah, so it just takes a couple inches out.
Yeah.
And Dane's walking by, hitting my dropper post. I'm like, I just thought he was being annoying. I'm like, Dick, like, what are you doing? But you said that's bad. So explain what's going on.
So remember, I'm ancient. And I've been around since before droppers, and I've seen what causes a lot of problems with droppers. Droppers have gotten so much better in the last few years.
It's probably worth highlighting also that Guru Suspension, which is one of your companies.
Yep.
And you are the suspension guru.
Yeah.
Not only services shocks and forks for bicycles, but you do droppers as well.
Yeah. And one thing that kills droppers pretty fast, there's two things that kill droppers, and that's what this little blurb is before we finish up tonight. I see this in the shop too, and I'll walk by and I'll undo them. When a dropper post has anywhere from 150 to sometimes 400 PSI in them. Most droppers are built with an air system and an oil system, and the air is... when you push the dropper down, it compresses the air, right? And makes it, super, super high pressure so that when you hit that lever again, it's using that as a spring, and the air is lighter than having a metal spring. It doesn't make noise. It doesn't clank. That's how they do it. There's a couple posts on the market that don't have air, believe it or not. But for the most part, and then there's cartridge posts where they actually use the same thing. It's usually a nitrogen instead of air, and it's a sealed cartridge. When you lower the post, you are compressing that air and you're increasing the pressure of that from, let's say, a Fox post is at 400 PSI. When you have it down, you're now putting that Fox post at like 6. I don't know exactly how much.
Yeah, but you're increasing the pressure.
Yeah, it'd be cool to actually put a gauge on the seat.
Why is that bad?
Now you're just loading those O-rings that hold the air in and hold the air separate from the oil. Because on a lot of cases there is a floating piston in there that separates the air and the oil, and so when you do that, you're just overloading them. You're just really putting way more pressure needlessly. You're doing it just to store them that way,
which over time can build up and create problems.
Yeah, it can seep air into the oil. So reverbs are notorious for that, and there's lots of different ways that you can just take the life away from your dropper. And so if you make it a good habit not to have it down all the time. So if you're traveling and you have to have it down so it clears your buddy's bars on your bike rack,
that's fine.
That's fine. But when you're leaving it, when you get to that hotel and you stick it in the room for the night, just pop it up and leave it that way. You're just relieving that pressure.
So when you're not riding your bike, unless you don't have a choice for fitment, right?
Yeah.
Keep your seat up.
Yeah. When you can, keep it at the least amount of pressure state so that you don't stress that stuff out.
And then you told me one more thing
that
I didn't know related to droppers. What's that?
So when you have the dropper down,
the seat down,
I've seen people pull it up without using a lever or put pressure, or this is what happened early on with demo drivers. They would put the seat down and then they would hang them on those A-frame racks by the nose of the saddle. And the bike would sit there with all of the weight of the bike trying to pull the seat up. What that does is it can cause a suction event that sucks air into the oil. And then if anyone's been riding droppers since they came out, they probably had a reverb at some point that developed this cushion at the top. We call it suspensioning. And a lot of that would be artificially accelerated to be caused by that syringing, that pulling up on the dropper.
So no upward motion on your seat when the seat post is in the down position.
Yeah. And so when we bleed brakes, I'll give you an example. When we bleeding brakes, especially on SRAM, you're doing a double syringe, and you can have the opportunity to pull the syringe or you push it. When you pull the syringe, it's very common that you'll pull air past the seal and you'll see it go into the syringe. And what's happening is the O-rings that are meant to seal are actually better under pressure than they are under suction, and they don't function as good. And so in the seat post, the same principle applies. So when you're syringing, when you're pulling that seat post up, you're creating a suction, which can allow air to pull past an O-ring and create that air in the oil situation.
So it's actually the opposite of like the bedroom, where suction is good and pressure is bad. In this situation, suction's bad, pressure's good.
Yeah. Okay, I'm good with that. So, can we talk about dirty lube strippers? Because
one more time.
Because I really.
Let me just before we get into the jokes and we end this podcast, just one more question about droppers. Can I put my dropper post up and then clamp my dropper post into a bike stand? Is that okay?
So I'm going to say yes, but there's a lot of caveats. You don't want to damage the shaft. In most cases,
another good reference.
Yeah. You don't ever
damage the shaft.
That is another T-shirt.
Take care.
Don't damage the shaft.
Yes.
And that goes for a lot of things.
Yes, it does.
In most cases, the shaft, let's call it a stanchion. The stanchion of the seat post is not actually creating a airtight or oil tight seal. And so like we see in the service center, a lot of times a damage on the back of seat posts from debris flicking up from the bikes.
Yep.
And so it's not super critical. It can cause little cavities that will introduce more dirt inside the dropper. And so your service interval should be sooner and things like that. So you don't need to freak out. There is some possibility now with a lot of e-bikes on the market and heavier bikes. If a mechanic clamps that upper post and it's the smaller diameter, and this is a real thing you can actually do on your bike.
You can bend it.
You can bend it. And so you want to
bend
be
the
careful.
stanchion, the seat post stanchion itself.
If you're riding in a G-out event and you're on your saddle and you're a bigger rider, and we saw this a lot when they started doing 170 posts and bigger.
Yeah.
Because it causes a big lever arm. And one of the pushes I think we're going to see in the future is that diameter is going to start going up. Not only in the seat post itself, but the stanchion.
Just to get rid of
that.
I know you've been surprised at my weight. I haven't bent a seat post yet.
And that usually, and from what I've seen, is a lot of technique. We almost never see any damage on a seat post from a clamp in a work stand. That is provided your work stand's in good shape and has protective rubber or something on there.
Protective rubber is good.
I worked in, yes. For your lubed up stripper. But I've worked in a bike shop where those little plastic things are so worn out that the metal's poking through.
Yeah.
You don't want that. And in fact, I've worked in a bike shop where we're putting rags over that to protect stuff. It's not a big item to order.
It's like $4 for the new. Yeah. And so, all the major companies have replacement.
I feel like bike shops need to do that, and at home you need to do that. But that's really all you're worried about. It's not as critical. Nobody wants a scratch on there, so you need to be careful. And but you're not typically going to kill the post. The bending will kill the post. That gets expensive.
So just make sure you're not bending it. Not like putting it at an angle where the bike is putting downward force on
absolutely. Like we tilt the bikes all the time. If I'm doing something quick on a fork and I don't want to remove it from the bike, I may tilt the bike 45 so that I can have that fork level, and I'm putting all that pressure on that dropper. And if it's a really heavy bike, I may just mark where the dropper was, extend it out of the bike, and use the dropper shaft, not the dropper
shaft. Come on,
tube, not the stanchion.
The tube.
There we go. Yeah.
Tube. So, all right. All right, man. So not on that. We definitely, this happens all the time. We did not get through all of our stuff. What we talked about? Cutting carbon bars.
Yes.
We talked about wet chain wax. We talked about change one thing on your bike at a time. We covered a little bit up of the Forecaster, the Teravail Ehline, and then we talked about droppers and keep them up when you're not riding them.
Yeah. I'll tell you guys that are listening to this, there's a couple things that I would love some feedback if people want to hit us through Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah. Those or you can click that text on our...
you can, but didn't we find out we can't respond?
We can.
We can't.
Well, you got to put your name or contact information. Like we can't respond directly.
We can't respond directly. So, but it would be cool because we're in a particular climate. If you have a particular chain lubricant...
Yeah, like what do you use?
That works better in your area and maybe why. Or why you chose it, because again, we're
dude, you're opening the flood doors. We're going to get like 200 people.
That's cool.
Okay.
That's okay. Actually,
you like it
because I like to absorb that data and then use it.
Yeah.
Is some guy in Portland going to be like, dude, you're full of crap.
All right, let's just say
Squirt.
this, the best answer gets a free Mountain Cog hat. I'll ship it to you.
There you go.
The best answer.
Is that in one of the videos, right? We were starting to do videos. So you should be able to see that, I think.
You can see the videos, the Mountain Cog hats. Yeah,
I mean, so if you want one of those hats,
just
let's
tell us about your lube.
I have one of those hats and I love it. It's pretty freaking dope.
It's a good hat.
So yeah. So it was in Ruth. She was wearing one.
Ruth put it on too. Yeah.
So we're sticking them in all the videos. So if you want one of those hats, tell us Tell us which chain
and
lube you use.
right now you can't buy that hat, so it has to be something that we give it to you.
Yeah, I got to tell you that all of the products we talked about, none of them were given to us.
Nothing.
We bought all of them.
Yeah, we get no money.
None of those companies are in contact with us. I just want that clear, because if those companies do want to send us stuff, that's great.
We do, and we do have. It's interesting. The floodgates have opened a bit in that we do have a handful of products that people have given us.
Yes,
I will tell you that's not quite true, because we talked about Seal It.
Seal It, yes.
And the Seal It guy did give me some.
We didn't talk about Seal It. That's
right.
Down.
We talked about that before the podcast.
That will be coming up.
That'll be coming up. So yeah. So
that's our good segue before we leave, just to let everybody know that we are starting to get product to. We don't want to make this a review podcast. It's not our goal to just be like, this is the latest product. That's not really what we do. I mean, if anyone's listened to this for a while, they know that that's not what we're doing. But it's been kind of fun to check out some cool stuff. Yeah. And we have been contacted by a couple companies who want our opinion. And what we have told them, I would say, is pretty ringing true. We would love to try it and talk about it in an honest way that's not a paid advertisement.
And we'll likely either give away or auction off or something the products, because we don't we want to keep
some of
that
them. I'm going to keep.
unbiased.
I'm going to be straight up honest.
We just got to tell our listeners when we're keeping them. We like this so much. You bastards don't get it.
If Squirt sends me a case of Squirt,
yeah,
I'm going to keep one bottle. I'm just saying.
Well, can you throw a few my way too?
Oh yeah, dude, I'm telling you, I like that stuff. But I
don't say the name of that.
No, I'm not gonna say the name of that.
Some of these things are embargoed.
Well, and plus we will have a whole episode that we're going to talk about this stuff. But
yeah, actually, I think I want to bring. We're like our listeners have no idea what the fuck we're talking about.
No, we're being all cagey. But
the guy that did that thing right there, I think I want to. He lives here. I think I want to bring him on.
Yeah, and
I want to have a conversation not just about his product, but about the process of launching a new product.
Yes,
I think that'd be a cool concept.
Yeah, and I just want people to know that. And again, if you have an opinion on this, if you're like, no, I'm not going to listen to you guys.
Yeah, don't talk
if
about.
You start
products.
talking about product. Let us know. We'll probably ignore you. But honestly,
no, we will not ignore you. We ignore nobody.
But honestly, we want that feedback. We're just having fun with this, but it seems like people really like it, and it keeps growing.
We're still in top 10, bro.
Yeah, and
top 10.
And now people are contacting us, which is like, crap, this is cool, So if you do have opinions, we really want to hear those things, because we're running out of ideas.
No, we're not running out of ideas. We got a shit ton of ideas. You might be running out of ideas.
I never run out of
ideas. I got 7,000 ideas. All right. We love you guys. Sorry that we rambled for the last 5 minutes.